organization has been tracking the recent outbreak of rabies that began in Taiwan and has now been reported in over 12 countries, responding to allegations he hasn't done enough to
I think the
prevent
opening sequence where the zombies first strike is so scary to us because we're reading in the news about emerging diseases. For example, there are viruses emerging from Saudi Arabia or from China where we've never really seen these particular viruses before, and we don't really understand how they work. And people are getting sick and people are dying, and you don't know what you should be doing because these viruses can spread as quickly as the zombies spread. I mean, if someone is sick and gets on a plane, they can be in another country, on another continent in a matter of hours. That's how real viruses spread around the world. And so these zombies are spreading kind of like viruses do, and it's very scary.
No, we're not really in Philadelphia. Here we're in the center of Glasgow, sort of the center of town. And Glasgow was generous enough to basically close down the whole part of their center. And we have like several streets here blocked for ourselves to do the opening of the movie. And it's been really exciting to be here because they've been very cooperative. And it really gave us the scale we were looking for. And once you change the street signs and you put some cabs in and you also use some digital plates from Philadelphia, the city really will look like Philadelphia.
Glasgow was kind of an unbelievable discovery as Philadelphia and largely unfilmed in, so they received us very generously and kind of let us take them over for 2 weeks.
Rolling.
We first talked about shooting the sequence in 6 days, and I think then people sat around the table and realized, hang on, this is much more complex, we needed more days. So I approached the council and asked for an 18-day closure of this area, which is enormous. I mean, it's never been done in England before. A city centre shut down for 18 days.
So on background, you start running, slightly further up, there's going to be a camera there looking at you.
Simon Crane has been in charge of the second unit direction, and he's got a terrific team around him as well.
I think this is actually better.
Mark had a real big passion, for the whole project, and it was really what he wanted to bring was scale. We wanted to do as much practically as possible, but to give a huge scale to the film, and which we're doing.
Get back in your car right now!
In the opening sequence, we have a truck that does some damage to Main High Street.
We've done a lot of stunts where we had a big, like a snow plow mounted on the front of the garbage truck. So as the truck's driving through, you get cars literally flipping around all over the place. One of the things we're trying to do is give it a very documentary kind of style. But on this one, we really want to tie Brad and his family into the action. So what we did, within the Volvo, we actually mounted 4 different cameras which give us an overlapping tile background. And then Brad, we can shoot green screen and actually have him driving and being part of the action.
Brad is a great driver, great mover, great fighter. He'd do it all if he could. And we try and give him as much as we can because with him doing it, it's great screen value and it looks fantastic.
Brad Pitt is wonderfully generous actor. He brings a lot of laughter onto the set, and you can see that he's always thinking about the story that we're trying to tell and the best way to tell it, and he's always bringing ideas to the set.
And we crashed over 40 different cars. We then crashed the garbage truck, and then we crashed Brad's Volvo into an ambulance.
We've had 150 cars, of which we have crashed, I think, about 80% of them. I think half of the cars have come from America in containers, shipped in, and then they're, of course, not legally allowed to drive on the road. So they all had to be on transporters, getting them into the square, into our enclosure zone.
Military are coming in, doing roadblocks, trying to channel everybody away from where all the action is. The main reason I'm here is to go through the script, make sure that they're keeping as realistic as possible. But don't bring them all the way down. Stop them at the signs right here, and then we'll go ahead and move them in groups. I'm helping them with the progression of the breakdown in the military to tell the story.
Why don't you take charge of the situation and yell some stuff to him? He yells something.
I trained Mr. Pitt on a film called Spy Games years ago. He's very particular about everything. If I have a National Guardsman here, he wants to know exactly why it's there, what are they doing, why are they doing that, what's the weapon doing, why does he have that weapon. He's very particular about every small detail.
The National Guard have been called out. I think you'll see some of them behind us. We've got M16s, we've got M4s, we've got SWAT teams here with shotguns, we've got MP5s, we've got the police with Glock pistols, and slowly we'll start to see the guns coming into use. But we've been firing a lot of weapons this morning to get the crowd motivated.
In terms of crowds, some days when we're in smaller streets, in the beginning of the sequence, we were getting away with 200 crowd to make the streets look full. And now that we're moving into the square for the mayhem, we're bumping up to 700.
Speed camera. Action!
The idea behind the live-action photography with actors and stunt people was have real people on the street that were panicked. Most of the shots have real actors acting like they've been bitten, being taken over, becoming a zombie. Then we intermingled with that certain shots where it was a CG character or a CG herd running across, because now this entire city is being engulfed, starting with a bite and a bite and a bite. Suddenly, you don't know who do you trust. You better just move, because it's nothing but this driving wave of zombies that's coming at you, and it's a mix of computer graphics animation, animated characters, as well as great performance.
Come on, let's go!
I think our biggest production challenge was getting the right level of chaos, and yet chaos that can be understood, and having that be with the family and with them enough that you're emotional and connected to them emotionally. And yet also understanding the insane things that are going on around them.
It's a very challenging movie because we have huge crowds. Cut. There are very few scenes where we have two people sitting around a table. It's mostly like hundreds and hundreds of extras every scene and big setups that it's a challenge, but everything we're getting so far is really, really special.
Roll video!